Welcome back to the channel on Wednesday the 6th of February today, and we're going to kick off this photography series of I don't know, tutorials maybe. I don't know if they're tutorials or, you know, FYIs, I don't know, something like that, but it's photography based. And I thought I'd start with the first episode. It's purely going to be on the different types of camera available to us. I don't want to go rushing in and, you know, hit everything all at once, because I think it would just get confusing. So I'm going to do a small piece on a set area. You know, every time a new one comes out, it will be on a specific area, and I'll say at the beginning, and then we'll go through that, and then that will be it for that episode. We won't branch out into different realms, because it will just get complicated, and that way we can keep everything together. So the first one's nice and easy, because it's just going to be on the types of camera that are available to us, and a little bit like that. So we're going to start off. We'll start off with the bottom and go to the top. So first of all, pretty much everyone has these nowadays. We're looking at the mobile phone, mobile computer, whatever you want to call it. They have some pretty good onboard cameras these days. Now, unless you're pre sort of smartphone, in which case, you know, if you haven't got a touchpad phone, and it's probably not color display or anything, even some of the color ones, the early ones, the cameras are not up to much good. They're, relatively speaking, they're not even sometimes as good as web cameras. Now, when we come onto the smartphones, that's a completely different ball game altogether. I take lots of photographs with this. This is the Galaxy S6, and it has a phenomenal camera on board, and it takes superb shots, especially in low light. We can take close-up shots, we can take landscape shots, you can do everything on this camera, and it has a fairly intuitive scheme on it. We'll cover this in greater detail in one of the other shows. I'm trying to come up with some good screen capture software so that I can go into some of the settings and show you. So I'm working on that at the moment. But this can do pretty much anything you set its task. You set the task for it, and it will do it. Very good close-up, and that's about it. Limitations, I mean, it does have some. If you're after professional prints from your photographs, then I wouldn't go down this road. It's more than enough for snaps. A4 prints it will do. I mean, this is I think this is 18 megapixels. Actually, I'm not sure. I can't remember. Is it 15? Now, this is where the one point to mention. Now, a lot of people get hung up on this. They will see that I tell you, prime contender for this is CEX. Now, I'll tell you, I went into CEX once, and I wanted to sell them at the time. It was a 6 megapixel camera, a proper camera, and they refused to take it. They said their basis for refusing to take it was that smartphones were currently at 5 megapixel and they could take just as good a photograph. This is wrong. That is not the case. You could have a 10 megapixel camera and a 10 megapixel smartphone, the smartphone will not take as good a pictures as the camera. You've got to, it's all to do with sensor size and pixel size. It just won't happen, and a lot of people think that just because it says 10 megapixels on the front that it will match a 10 megapixel digital SLR or so on. So that's one thing to remember. Your picture quality will not be as good on a camera, but it will be good enough for most people's uses for it. Even mine, and I take some pictures for stock now, and I was very reluctant to begin with because it was a camera phone, and up until then camera phones hadn't been brilliant. But this is a good example of great pictures in a small package. So there we go, that is the camera phone. Now the second one up, I haven't got one on me, but it's basically a compact camera. Most of you, or many of you, will have this. It's just a small camera with a little screen on the back, very compact, and again it does pretty much everything that the phone camera does, but in a small package. It's normally got a few extra features on, although the features on the phones are catching up rapidly. So compact cameras, they're having to constantly innovate and come up with something extra that these can't do, but they're beginning to struggle, I think. Pardon me. So yeah, then you sort of, if you've got one of these, you probably don't need the compact camera, in all honesty. I don't know. It's a tough one. I wouldn't buy a compact camera if I've got one of these. I know what I just said about the sensor size. The sensor size in a compact camera is bigger, so therefore the prints and overall quality will be better than this. But at the moment I'm not selling work or anything. This is just purely for my own purpose, for recording family events and so on. So this is a superb quality for what I need it. You got your compact camera, so we'll briefly touch on that. Then you go up to what's called the bridge camera. Now this, traditionally, this is an old one, but this would traditionally be thought of as an SLR type camera with a built-in lens. Now the thing that bridge cameras offer is super zooms. They're sometimes called super zooms or ultra zooms, and you'll normally find they've got somewhere on them bragging about the zoom, and they will focus in huge distances. So just remember that the more you use the zoom, the less the image quality will be. Because as you zoom in, you go down in your pixel rate. You'll probably often see it on cameras. When you look in the metadata, you'll find on a picture with this such a camera as this, when you zoom in, you'll notice that the pixel rates drop. Again, so this pretty much offers everything that a digital SLR offers, with the exception no interchangeable lenses, probably a few features less, a little bit less professional. You can record video on them and everything like that. I don't know whether it's changed, but they used to drain batteries like nobody's business because they had an EVF display. Now what this means is, when you traditionally look through a digital SLR, you're looking through a viewfinder which then comes through a mirror and then out through the lens. So you're actually viewing a live picture through the lens. With an EVF, you're actually looking through the lens, through the sensor, onto the the display at the back. And if you look through the viewfinder, it's just another small display. You can notice the difference immediately when you look through an EVF, because you can tell it's got this electronic look to it, and that's another downfall to bridge cameras. They may have changed that recently. I haven't looked at a bridge camera for a long time, so I'm only really going on what I know from when I was taking photographs. So by all means, you know, if things have changed, do leave information below. I am trying to keep up to date. I am doing a lot of research before I do these shows. I'm trying to cover as much ground as I can, and if I've got anything wrong, please do tell me. I'm by no means an expert, as it were. Yes, I used to be a professional photographer, but that was a few years back now, and like everything else, photography doesn't stand still, it constantly moves. So there may well have been some advancements in the last few years I'm unaware of. I've spent the last few days trying to catch up, but by all means feel free to point me out if I'm wrong. Nobody knows everything. So there we go. So this is mainly, this is what they refer to as a bridge camera. So the main points of that is to remember the bridge camera is a low-end digital SLR with a lens built in, and the lens cannot be changed, and it will normally have a hyper, ultra or super zoom feature built in, which are very good now. I have seen some of the recent ones that have focused in on the moon from standing outside on an evening, and the shots have been phenomenal. So then we move on to one of my other cameras. This one was quite expensive, and this is referred to as a CSC, or a compact system camera. Now this is basically, you could look at this as it's a cross between all three of the cameras just mentioned. So with the probable exception of the bridge camera, we have you've got your compact camera design in this, which is your compact camera. It's a little bit bigger than a compact camera, but basically that's it. You've got your digital SLR features are also in here. It's full frame sensor. You can get full frame sensor, and you can get an APS-C type sensor. We'll go more into that in another episode. And you also have interchangeable lenses, which is the big draw for these. So why did I get a compact system camera when I have a digital SLR? Size, purely size. This thing is, you can put it in your pocket. The lenses are very, very much smaller than the digital SLR, which I will show in a second. This does everything my digital SLR does. The only downside to this camera is that there is no viewfinder, which is can be a bit of a disappointment, especially in bright light, and that's a big drawback with anything but digital SLRs. As we've all been in a situation where the sun's sort of shining on the back of the camera and you just cannot see what you're focusing in on. I have got a little device which just slots on the back, and it's basically a box frame that sort of sits around the edges there and offers a bit of shadow so that I can see the screen. This is a superb camera. They're about £1,000. They were when I bought this. I think they might be down to about 600 or 700 now if you buy them with lenses. and yeah, it's a very good camera. It's a Samsung. I really rate the Samsung cameras and the Samsung tech in general. I've never been disappointed by it, and it's got a host of features. It's got a slot for an external flash. The external flashes are traditionally a lot smaller and a lot less powerful than a conventional flash gun on a digital SLR. For example, this is the flash that sits on the top of this. It's got a low guide number. Guide number just tells you basically how powerful the flash is, and what sort of coverage you can get from it in distance. And basically this is a tiny flash, but it's enough for close up, and fairly near subject, and also fill-in flash, which is we'll cover again in a later episode. So that's a compact system camera, another great bit of kit, and I do use this one a lot. This one also does video HD, superb quality. It takes a card, a rechargeable battery, and the battery lasts quite a length of time. Then we come on to the ultimate sort of what everybody wants to get, and that's the digital SLR. This model here is the EOS 60D. This was about £1,100 when I bought it. I bought it when it first came out. It's slightly different from other digital SLRs as it has a tilt and swivel screen, so you can cover every sort of, you can see where you're photographing. This was bought not long after I lost my leg, because photography was the first thing that was hit. I couldn't get down low anymore for low down shots, so I got the this camera because it enabled me to get a low down shot and just tilt the screen up, and work from there. Excellent. So this has the viewfinder, the interchangeable lenses. This does absolutely everything you can want from a camera. There's nothing this thing can't cover. It goes down very low in terms of shutter speed, very high. You've got the bulb rate, which is just bulb setting on a camera. Just refers to the fact that the shutter remains open constantly until you tell it to close. That's bulb, and it'll go right up to, I think, 1/8,000th of a second. I think, or is it 8,000ths of a second, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's got multiple drive rates, high speed, servos, and it also benefits from autofocus points built in. I think it has 13 autofocus points in the lens system. There are downsides to the digital SLR. There are quite a few downsides. First one, price. They are expensive, although you can get the budget ones, which are very good. They're more than adequate, and they are a lot cheaper now than they used to be. The second one is size. They are very big and very bulky. The more professional the camera, by rule of thumb, the bigger it's going to be, the heavier it's going to be. If you compare this to a Canon EOS 1, which is their flagship range, you can see straight away the difference in size, the difference in weight, and so on. They've got built-in flash on all models, apart from some of the professional ones. Some of them professional ones don't have a built-in flash because they're, you're going to be using external flash gun with them anyway. So this will take that. It will also take an external flash gun, which I have here, which can also go on a tripod and in various setups in various setups for lighting purposes. And let me just take that off. That's an external, one type of external flash gun. You've also got what's called a hammerhead flash gun. Now that basically has a long stem beneath here and a plate at the bottom, and will traditionally sit offset from the camera like this, in that sort of configuration. I have got a mech one somewhere, and I used to use that a lot in event photography. Traditionally, these flash guns are very capable of doing a multitude of things. That, you know, they'll sync up wirelessly, digitally. They can output at different forms of power, quarter power, 1/8 power, full power. They can work as slaves, so that another flash gun can activate this one. This one at the moment has a wireless trigger set up underneath, because I've been getting ready to do some macro photography, which is close-up photography of very close-up work, and to get details on models and that. And basically this sits on here, and you might have seen the other one sat on top of the digital SLR, and that basically, when I take the shot, it will fire this wherever this is, so that I don't have to have it attached to the camera, because flash is notoriously difficult to learn. It's very complex, and you can ruin many shots by incorrectly using flash. It's a very difficult subject, one that I personally struggled with greatly when I was learning. So that's the digital SLR, and this is my go-to camera for anything I think that is going to be put in stock, or I think I might be looking at selling at a later date, or anything I'm going to enter for a competition where I want top-notch quality, where I want the absolute best. Then this is my go-to camera. This is 16 megapixel. This is 22 megapixel. This would still be my go-to camera over this if it was extremely important, mainly because I've grown up with this, I've worked with this, I know the quality of it, and I just trust the name Canon. I just know that it's going to deliver. Plus the glass I've got with it is exceptional, very expensive, the glass. That's incidentally another downside to digital SLRs. You've got to buy your own lenses, and they can be phenomenally expensive. When you consider that with this you get the full coverage of every possible lens that you might need, it's all just built into one zoom. Now if you compare this lens on here at the moment, it's 50mm only, and this was, I think, £460. It's a 50mm prime lens though, so this is a very good lens. With that said, I think that really concludes the first episode. Really, that's a brief look at the different types of camera you can get. Now hopefully you will have one of these types, and I can pretty much cover any question from all of them. So if you do have a question on the type of camera you've got, then drop a comment below. We are going to be going through them slowly. I'm not going to rush. I'm not going to stick to a set date. I'm not going to say there's going to be a video out every Tuesday, because of illness and everything else, some days I can't do much at all. So I'm just going to do them as and when. I will try and be as regular as I can. But just rest assured they will filter through. You might get 1 or 2 a week, you might not get one for a couple of weeks, but I will endeavour to do the best I can and answer any questions that you may have. So if you've got a question on a compact system camera, I don't know, say your pictures are all coming out dark, what can you do? Drop me, drop a comment, I can help you with that. If you've got a digital SLR and your pictures are always blurry, again, drop a comment and we'll see. Are you trying to get you're trying to get close-up pictures of detail in your model work, but you just can't get it in focus? Another question that I can answer. Lighting, feel free, give me as much information as you can when you ask the question. Let me know what camera you're using. If possible, include a small picture or a link to a picture that shows me the type of problem you're having, or send me a copy of that image. Sometimes that's better because I can look at the metadata attached to the image and I can see what the camera was doing when it took the picture. So that said, I think I've covered everything that I wanted to. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and all that's left for me to say is bye for now and see you soon.